I could take a break from this world. Running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna
destroy it. Yes, Zach.
It's not fair. It's not.
I love you.
I know, and I love you.
No, Zach.
For
Killing him. Exactly.
Exactly.
I gotta call a lawyer.
See, that's why I hate the county. They don't even realize that he alive.
Yo, this shit is crazy.
Oh, you want Zach to,
I want him to learn his lesson.
I was gonna say suffer.
What's good? What's good? What's good, everybody? It is your girl, Tika to Shine, right here at All Things Ruthless, home of the Ruthless Addicts. And we're just definitely about to dive in to this Zatima conversation, this live discussion of Tyler Perry's Zatima, episodes 11 through 16. Yes, it's going to be a long, well, we're not going to take too long. Y'all know I can be brief. But with that being said, from episodes 11 through 16, there were actions and consequences. There were tipping points. They were told that life goes on. Free Zach was a hashtag. We had Everybody Knows. And on episode 16, it was entitled The Art of Surprise. So we're just going to dive on in. I want to say thank you to everyone who is tapping in and tuning in, kicking it with the girl right here at All Things Ruthless. If you will, do me a favor, hit that like button as well as that share button. And if you're new to my channel, coming across me for your very first time, when we get halfway through this whole live, if you like what you've seen so far, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, okay? All right, y'all, let's go get it, okay? Okay, of course, we saw the moment where Zach was arrested and taken down to the police department. Now, Zach has spoken to everybody. Like, he's had conversations with just about everybody that could get behind the doggone police line. He had a conversation with Fatima. He had a conversation with, listen, he had an attorney that wasn't his attorney. Like, Zach just is going through the motions. But we know that this all stems from the physical altercation between Zach as well as his brother, Jeremiah. Yes, indeed, Zach did take things a little too far. He just went too far when it came to his disciplining, his altercation with his brother Jeremiah, because at the end of the day, he could have taken him out. But right now, Zach is in jail because they think that Zach has unalived his brother. Again, Fatima goes there and she's able to get in. She has this conversation with Zach, and she's just saying, you have to do better. I can't stand by you with you doing what you're doing. Like, do you even care about me or this child? And Zach is saying, well, what would you do? What should I have done? And she's just saying to him that you should have just left it all alone. But Zach, being Zach, he doesn't know what it means to leave things alone. He's got anger issues, but we're gonna move forward because we know, like I said, Zach has anger issues. We don't know, his childhood was definitely a different one, but we're gonna definitely find out that Jeremiah is still alive. Like, we literally went basically 2 episodes to find out that Jeremiah was actually alive. Now, everybody was really counting Zach out. Like, they were saying, oh, well, he's locked up. What are we going to do? Instead of actually going to the hospital to see whether or not Jeremiah was in fact unalived. And, it was just like, are you really going to actually pay attention to somebody once the truth actually comes out? But of course, Connie goes to Fatima because she was feeling that something was just not quite right. She just knew in her heart of hearts that something wasn't right. So she goes to Fatima and asks Fatima to, come down, just come ride with me. Of course, this is after having a conversation with Deja out in front of their home, where Deja is saying that Zach is in jail and because he unalived his brother, and she didn't really know where Fatima was. Now y'all know Deja is the queen of nosy, and whatever can be seen, she's definitely going to see it. So anyway, after everything moves along, we're gonna see where, like I said, Connie, she goes to Fatima and she tells her, look, just take a ride with me, come ride with me, and so that we can, because there's just something is just not quite right. And Fatima's like, well, where are we going? And so she says, just, don't ask too many questions, just ride with me. And so they make their way down to the hospital, y'all. And lo and behold, in the hospital, they find that Jeremiah is still alive. Now, we thought that Jeremiah was gone. He was taken by the king. He was going to the upper room. But Jeremiah is still alive. And then we find out that the police, they held Zach, even though Jeremiah is still alive. Like, I could see if he was, like, did they even go in and check the vitals? They just automatically assumed that Jeremiah was unalive. And so now Zach is locked up. Yeah, he can be locked up for the assault, but Jeremiah has to actually press charges. But they have him locked up under the Unalivement Act. And so, as we can see, y'all, Jeremiah is still alive. He's still hanging on. He's still waking up, begging and telling Fatima, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't try to hurt you. And he was like, after they found out that he was alive, they decided it was time for them to go. And he was like, so y'all just not going to stay up here and check on me? Y'all basically just came, basically they went there to see whether or not he was still alive. And because he is still alive, there's really nothing else that, needs to be said or done at the end of the day, you guys. And so after this moment, of course, everybody is asking Fatima, now that we know that that Jeremiah is still alive, are you going to go and get Zach out of jail? And at this point, Fatima is at that moment where she feels as if Zach needs to be taught a lesson. She says, because really, in actuality, they really have a lot to lose, whether it's Zach becoming a businessman, as well as Fatima, who could eventually become an attorney. So, she's just questioning, like, what should I do? She's talking to the therapist, Dr. Reed, and Dr. Reed, he felt like Fatima wanted Zach to suffer. And she says, well, suffering and learning a lesson, aren't they the same thing? And he says, well, possibly. But the difference is, he breaks it down for her. At the end of the day, her mind is made up, though. She still wants Zach, even if it's just overnight, she wants Zach to stay behind bars. So then she's going to give Dr. Reed a hug. Of course, Connie is still outside because Connie brought her back home from the hospital. She saw Dr. Reed. She was like, who is that? And of course, Fatima introduced him, but because Connie is still, no matter what, loyal to Zach, she is making sure that no funny business goes on. She does not want Fatima playing games with her ex-man, aka her friend, also known as Zach, y'all. So that's, that just shows how loyal Connie is. Still, regardless of Zach and his shenanigans, she's still loyal to him. So then we're gonna see Zach in jail, and here comes Mr. Bad News Bear, the police officer who was sent there by Deja to send this particular picture to Zach. He also gets a phone call from Nathan, and Nathan is just saying, "Hey, Jeremiah's still alive," and so he's telling him, to call Bryce, tell Bryce to get in contact with the judge who they sold the property to. But the police officer, he shows Zach this particular image. Now we know that's Dr. Reed. And Zach, he has a sort of look on his face, but right now his major concern, his biggest concern is getting out, because we know that, like I said, Jeremiah is still alive. So there's no need for Zach to be sitting in jail smelling like curry because he hasn't taken a shower in a couple of days. Okay. So then we're going to see Tony as well as Nate. And of course, Nate is saying, that Zach wants him to get in contact with Bryce and tell Bryce to contact the attorney. But at this point, Tony has had enough. Tony is so high right now. He is so high, and he is not willing to share his edibles. He tells Nate, like, why are you trying to interfere in my Zen moment? Now, for those of you that have never watched Zatima, Nathan and Tony are friends with Zach, okay? Tony, who owns this barbershop, which was given to him by his father, he is one that somewhat has a good head on his shoulder. Nate kind of messes up a lot and is always passing out bad information. But at the end of the day, they all want the best for Zach. No matter, how they show it, they all want the best for Zach. So finally, Nate gets in contact with with Lord, I just lost the man's name just that quick, y'all. Bryce. He gets in contact with Bryce. But the way that he does it, he goes over to Zach and Bryce's office, and he basically is there from 5 o'clock in the morning. And technically he's really there because he don't really have a place to go. Like, his wife probably put him out. He's been dealing with Belinda, but she doesn't want him there unless he comes back with her rent money that Jeremiah has stolen. So anyway, now they figure out what they have to do, and they go and get Zach out of jail. And of course, there's a dap up between Nate as well as Zach. But of course, Zach does not want any hugs, kisses, daps, nothing from your boy Bryce. Y'all know Bryce tried to lay a wet one on Zach. And so Zach is still uncomfortable with Bryce. To me, it's like either you're going to continue to be friends with Bryce. I understand the situation was uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, you're gonna either continue to be friends with him or allow Bryce to move along with his life. Of course, Bryce is his business partner as well, so there's a lot that he really, there's a lot of decisions that he'll have to make. Hopefully, he'll just, get over the fact that Bryce made a mistake, and hopefully Bryce will never make that mistake again. Now we're gonna see Angela. Now, Angela has been told on multiple occasions, stop bringing strays to her home. Now, listen, y'all, the words that are coming out my mouth are not the words of Tika Deshawn. They are words from Tyler Perry's Zatima. So Angela is told by this young gentleman on her couch that I know you're here for more than, I know I'm here for more than just the conversation. You're that one, you're that girl, you're that big black BITCH, okay? Again, words of Tyler Perry, not Tika Deshawn. She's that big black blee, okay? So she's, saying like, what? How dare you talk to me? Get out. And he is like, no, you want me here. You know you want me here. You like it. I've seen you so many times. And she's like, what do you mean you've seen me so many times? Like, what is it? What are you talking about? I don't know you. We basically just met at the gym. Again, this goes down to Fatima telling Angela, stop taking strays to your house. So she's getting majorly creeped out, as she should. I would get creeped out as well. She finally kicks the dude out, but he said, and she's calling Fatima at the same time. But he says, I have something to show you. Just let me show you. And so he shows her his phone, and it's a picture of her and whoever she's intimate with. It's a picture or a video of them on the website. And so she's like, what is that? What is going on? And so she allows him to come back into her home. And when he does, she sees that someone has video of her in her home, like I said, getting freaky with any man that has come into her home. She calls Fatima, and at the time, before she sees the exactly what's on the guy's phone, she looks at it and she says, "Oh my God!" And then the phone is just like kind of like silent, and so Fatima gets nervous and she goes right into action and she calls the police, as a friend should do. She goes right into action and she calls the police, and so we see where Angela is just like, now at this point, the guy has shown her the website, the videos that are on there, and she's trying to figure out how is this information, like how are these videos getting out there? And so basically we find out that these videos are getting out there because there are cameras in her home. Someone has placed cameras in her home. And she actually found one of the cameras. She found one that was placed in a potted plant. And so as the guy is telling her, look, give me my phone now. I gotta go. Like, okay, I understand you don't even know that you're on that website. So go ahead, give me my phone so I can leave. Well, she's trying to figure out everything that's going on. So they kind of get in somewhat of a tussle because he wants his phone and she's trying to find out where this information is coming from. Well, thankfully the popo run in right on time and they snatch him up, and basically they end up ushering him out of the room. So now at this time, Angela's gonna have to figure out who in the heck has placed all of this stuff online. Who has her pictures, her sexual moments, her self-care times. Like, she's got to figure out who's responsible for all of this. So then, you guys, we're going to see where Zach, as well as Bryce, as well as Nate, they're driving, basically taking Zach home after lockup. Okay, life after lockup. I'll call this for Zach. And so they're riding. Of course, like I said, Zach is always acting as if things are uncomfortable between he as well as Bryce. And Nate doesn't even know what has actually happened. He doesn't even know that Bryce actually tried to kiss him. So Zach is telling Bryce, "Hey man, I'll actually he wanted to just ride in the car with Nate, but Nate was like, well, I rode here with Bryce, and so Bryce just take me to my car." So Bryce is attempting to take Nate to his car, and of course Zach is like, I'm just going to get out. He's just so acting as if he's so a little ungrateful, but so uncomfortable at the same time with Bryce, y'all. I'm just like, Zach, calm down. Nate asked, he said, did one of y'all eat curry? So basically, Zach needs to go take a bath. That's what it all boils down to. Zach needs to go and take a bath. But Zach ends up getting out the car. Nate ends up walking. Well, Zach ends up walking, and he snatches up Bryce's big black coat so that he can at least be warm while he's walking the street smelling like curry. Okay, he's gonna make his way to his own car. He doesn't need anybody to drive him. At least that's the perception that he's given. Zach is gonna be Zach. He's stubborn at the end of the day, but he should still be totally grateful that they came and got him out of jail. So then we're gonna see Fatima and Angela. They're having their conversation, and basically Fatima wanted to tell her, look, I told you about bringing strays in your house, but you didn't want to listen. And of course Angela's like, I don't need to hear that right now, Fatima, shit. Like, she got the nerve to be mad when Fatima did tell her, keep the strays out your house. So anyway, Fatima, she tells Angela is telling her, I don't know how all of this stuff got on the internet, but I need help taking it down. And Fatima says, well, I could go, I could contact one of the attorneys at my job. And she's like, I don't want, anybody from your office in my business, basically. I guess I'm going to have to dye my hair. I'm going to have to change my look, just everything. But then Fatima has a moment where she thinks about her friend Leslie, who she saw earlier in that day. She saw Leslie at the gym. Go figure. Leslie is going to have a major role in this show. So y'all just keep watching, keep locking, stay locked in, y'all, because Leslie, she's about to come into play. So again, Fatima, she also says that Malachi, which is Leslie's husband, used to work he was in the military and now he works for the FBI, and she's going to reach out to him and to them to see if he can help get all of that stuff taken down off of the internet. Because at this point, her business is literally all over the world. Y'all know how it goes when something gets on the internet, it's on there for life. So she's going to definitely need the FBI or somebody with some power to get her personal business off of the internet, y'all. So with that being said, we're going to take a quick intermission and then I will be right back. So y'all stay locked in, okay? We're still talking Zatima. Season 3, episodes 11 through 16, which returned December 26th. And we're just catching up, okay? All right, y'all, stay locked in. I'll be right back.
Living for weekends, wishing I could take a break from this world. Running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna
Destroy it. Yes, Zach.
It's not fair. It's not.
I love you.
I know, and I love you.
No, Zach.
For
Killing him. Exactly.
exactly.
I gotta call a lawyer.
See, that's why I hate the county. They don't even realize that he alive.
Yo, this shit is crazy.
Oh, you want Zach to,
I want him to learn his lesson.
I was going to say suffer.
All right, y'all. All right, y'all. We are back. Your girl had to take a brief intermission, catch my breath, so that we can complete wrapping up Tyler Perry's Zatima season 3, episodes 11 through 16. where it all went down. It was absolutely crazy. I'm still enjoying these moments. Now we're going to see Zach as well as Nate, and they're finally made it over to the projects, the apartment complex, the housing area, whatever you want to call it, where Zach's mother lives, as well as Jeremiah. And they're going to run into Tony as well as Nate, or Tony as well as, hold tight, y'all, hold tight. Info coming up. Info. Anyway, they're running into the friends, Tony and Connie, you guys. And Zach still takes no accountability for what he has done. He's basically, saying to the friends, when did y'all know that my brother was still alive? So if you knew last night, I should have been out of jail last night. Like, just blaming, playing the blame game for them. Even at the end of the day, you guys, Zach, you still had to spend the night in jail, like overnight. You still had to spend that time, regardless, because it took Nate just as much time to get to the judge so that he can get you out of jail. So why are you giving Tony as well as Connie a hard time? And at the end of the day, they probably felt like Fatima, just as Fatima felt when Fatima was saying that you needed to learn your lesson. But he's still coming out with the big bad attitude, cursing people out, acting as if he's just so angry with Connie as well as Tony. At the end of the day, Zach, just like I'm saying, it's your fault that you chose. Like, you literally chose your actions. Everybody was telling you not to do it, but you still decided to do it anyway. So moving right along, you guys, anybody drop in the comments, let me know your thoughts on Zach and his actions towards his friends, his attitude towards Connie as well as Tony. And one other thing, Tony keeps asking Connie, is she okay? Because something does not look quite right with Connie. Do you guys think, drop in the comments, do you guys think that there's something wrong with Connie? Is there a story that's going to come out a little bit later? I hope it's not some type of cancer situation. But it looks as if they're leading towards something being wrong with Connie, because Tony keeps asking her that question. And then he also asks Nate, does Connie look a little different? So moving right along, we're going to see Fatima. And of course, because because Angela is in a world of mess. She is drinking. She does not know what she needs to do. So Fatima gets on the phone and she's going to call Leslie and invite Leslie as well as Malachi over for dinner. But in the meantime, Angela has to figure out who could have possibly placed these cameras in her home and who could have placed this information on the internet. Well, listen, I don't know if every lady has an old dude on their roster, but Angela definitely pulls out an old dude. This dude has bought her smoke detectors. He has done, different things for her. I'm sure he's shooting her money for a bill or two. And she invites the old dude over and asks him, did you install cameras inside my smoke detectors? He's like, no, I didn't. I would never do anything like that. Matter of fact, I don't even know how to do anything like that, and I definitely don't know how to go online, because she asked him, did he put her information or put the videos out of her online? And she's like, no, or he's saying no to her, but she does not believe him. He's ready to get it in. He's ready to go. He's like, well, let's go upstairs. Let's go in the bedroom. And she's like, no, let's do it right here on the couch. And he's like, no, let's go in the bedroom. My back bad. She's basically trying to say that he was responsible for the cameras, but he honestly has no idea about any of these cameras. He doesn't even know how to put a camera up. But then y'all, we're going to find out Angela is responsible for this whole mess. He put her information or she is responsible for this whole mess. Like, she literally did this to herself. We find out because her ring cam has an alarm on it. Bryce, of course, ends up pulling up over to Angela's home. And she's like, Bryce, what are you doing here? He says, well, the police or the ring camera people basically called and said that, you weren't responding, or there was an alarm going off, or something to the fact that she was in distress. And so by Bryce being the one that actually installed the ring cams for her, she started questioning him like, did you, do you have my videos of me online? And he's like, no, I would never do something like that. Like, what are you talking about? She says, well, did you install cameras? He said, yeah. And then it's like, wait, what? But he said, yeah, I installed these cameras because you asked me to install the cameras. He says, I even have a text message where you said the smoke detectors with the cameras. And so basically what has happened, y'all, basically Angela's cameras have been hacked, and now people are able to see Angela and her shenanigans, all the dirt that she's been doing, the dirty she's been doing. It's all on the internet. And she has nobody to blame but herself. So now at this point, she's got to figure out how to get all of her videos down. So that's where Fatima is going to, that's where she's going to come into play, where she will reach out. And this is why she's about to have this dinner. She has invited Leslie as well as Malachi over to her home. Leslie and Malachi, by the way, are old, quote unquote, old friends of Fatima, but there's definitely going to be a moment of enlightenment at the end of this episode, because we see this moment right here where Zach is about to walk in from being happy from being out of jail. First of all, he walks in and this is the first thing that he sees and ends up doing a WWE move on Malachi. So he's like, what the hell? Cause look at her, y'all. From here, that looks like Fatima, right? That looks exactly like Fatima. This is giving me single black female, if you ask me. Because initially when we meet Leslie, we see that her hair is straight, but it's still in the same style as Fatima, but it has this little crinkly style. So this is what made everybody think that this was Fatima. And I'm like, Fatima, girl, I know you are not messing around. Already, girl, you can't be. But we find out that it's Fatima's friend by the name of Leslie. Oh my God, y'all. Leslie as well as Malachi have come through and they've literally shaken the room. But because Fatima needs them, they have a conversation. Before they can even get into the conversation, there's a moment upstairs where, because Zach puts hands, still hasn't learned his lesson, but he puts hands on Malachi and flips him. Like he flips him and he hits the ground. And so basically they pulled that same move on Zach. Let me give you guys this quick clip and then I'll be right back.
No, come at him like you did.
Hold on, babe. This might hurt.
I'm a man. Relax.
I mean,
You mean what? Just do it.
Come
like
on.
what you mean do?
all right.
Come on.
So okay.
So we were like this.
Uh-huh.
No. You got to come at him like you did.
Okay, you
Okay.
ready, Malachi?
Let's go.
Okay.
So we were like this.
And I was like, boom, boom. Fuck! What?
Wonder Twins activate. He literally flipped Zach. Like because he is trained to do these things, he is not only ex-military, but he's also FBI. So he would know. He told Zach that the way that Zach flipped him was street style, and the way that he just flipped Zach was military grade FBI style. That shows the difference between between the difference of the two of them. So anyway, we have this whole dinner, you guys, and we're gonna see. It is apparent that Fatima's friend Leslie is somewhat jealous of her, but she's trying to play it off like, "Oh, girl, I just miss you so much." Because once upon a time, Fatima and this young lady, Leslie, were best friends. So basically, Leslie pulled a Belinda on her. She ended up sleeping with Malachi, who is Fatima's ex. She ends up sleeping with him. Fatima caught them because neither one of them were brave enough to let Fatima know what was going on. Fatima broke up with Malachi and he ended up going ahead and being with Leslie. And everything about Leslie says that he is still in love with Fatima. It's clear because he wants her to wear her hair the way that Fatima does. He wants her to basically dress the way that Fatima does. Just single black female, but the male perspective. Like, how would y'all feel if your mate, and drop in the comments, how would y'all feel if y'all mate had an ex that they were just so much still in love with that they wanted you to literally be that ex? I'm just wondering what you guys' perspective is on this subject. For me, I would not be comfortable. I'm just being real. I would not be comfortable with that. And I would probably still be single. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say about that, y'all. But the episode was getting crazy. The end of the conversation got even crazier. And Fatima is telling her, girl, we don't even need to talk about that. Because at this point, Zach didn't even know that Fatima and Malachi were ever a thing. He had no idea that the two of them were even together like that. So he's looking like, tell the truth, Fatima, tell the truth. So Leslie says to Fatima, I caught you coming out of his hotel last week and y'all were there together. Like, what? Radio scratch, record scratch. What are you talking about, Fatima? What is going on, my sister? So then, of course, coming with the receipts, she, aka Leslie, pulls out an image on her phone that shows Fatima and her man being Malachi. Do y'all think this is real? Or do y'all think that Malachi is so obsessed with Fatima that he would do and he could manipulate these images? I don't feel that Fatima, would cheat on Zach. I just really don't. Even if she wanted to, I don't think she would, especially with her being pregnant. I think she has a little bit more respect for herself, as well as, even though Zach is a whole fool sometimes, she still has respect, and I don't think that Fatima would do this. But drop in the comments below. Replay gang, definitely let me know your thoughts on the last episode. This came from episode 16, you guys, where Fatima's out there in these streets, according to Leslie. She saw her at the hotel with her husband. Allegedly, y'all. Allegedly. So, please, y'all let me know do y'all think this image is Photoshop? Because y'all know we could put things where they weren't really at. Like, we can really manipulate things with this internet these days. And by him being the FBI, he's a little psycho to still be obsessed with Fatima. So I don't think this really happened. Anyway, you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And at the end of the day, it's All Things Amazing. It's your girl, Tika Deshawn, right here at All Things Ruthless, home of the Ruthless Addicts. Thank you guys for joining me for this live recap of Zatima, this live discussion. I had such an amazing time going back and forth with you guys, having such an amazing conversation. This discussion was all things, and I'm absolutely here for it. Tyler Perry's Zatima. Y'all came in with the craziness, and we're looking forward to the next episode. So make sure you guys are locked in. And by the way, you guys, I will be giving away a BET Plus subscription. I will be giving away a BET Plus subscription. So stay tuned tomorrow. I will give you guys a video, and the first person to comment on that video will receive a BET Plus subscription. Just so with that being said, make sure you must be a subscriber to the channel, of course. Being a member will definitely help because you'll get any content before anyone else. But the first person to comment under that video will receive a BET Plus subscription. And all you have to say is, I was first, literally. That's all you have to say under that post. And this BET Plus subscription is going to be for 9 months long, okay? All right, y'all. That's about it. Thank you so much for tapping in, tuning in, kicking it right here with your girl, Tika Deshawn. This, again, has been All Things Amazing. And your girl is out of here. Y'all stay ruthless.